Hello, hello. Time to yap to myself for another half hour. Hope you're all doing well. So yes, no, as you've seen, today is a very important stream, not only to myself, but also just in general. Because, yeah, this is something I've wanted to yap about for a long while, actually. And yeah, no, this is very, very special event for me. So thus the separate kind of category. This one we are just going to basically discuss some of like my tips, tricks. Cheap viewers stream boot? Nope. Thank you, Saribot. And just, yeah, kind of yap about some of my stories and how I've made some things. So I guess, yeah, without further ado, who am I? I am a professional cat on the internet. I am a Vtuber event designer. I have hosted, as of right now, 2 successful Balatro creator tournaments, one of which September 2025, and another of which February 2026. I am one guy. I do not have a team. I try my absolute best on everything I do. And yeah, no, that's what matters, really. So overall, when it comes to event design, there's one thing, one motto, per se, that I always try and push toward, per se. Do not be afraid to gamble, because simply put, you can make an event out of anything. And I do mean anything. I've made 2 tournaments on a freaking card game, on a roguelike of all things. It's not your traditional like Marvel Rivals $20,000 creator tournament. No. I'm doing tournaments in games that I like and finding ways to make it work. I'm taking the risk, basically. And that's a motto that I've actively pursued in pretty much every decision I ever make. Because really, yeah, no, if I'm too scared to like get loud and do such things, nothing's ever gonna happen. And it's all about taking that risk. So overall, here are some of the steps that I kind of follow, per se, in my process. So step 1, obviously, research what you want. I will constantly be using the Balatro example here because, well, I am over 150 hours deep last time I checked. So it's a game that, like, I'm very knowledgeable about. I can do casting, I can explain basic mechanics to it. It's a very simple game. It's basically just poker. If you know poker, if you know how to make a flush, congrats, you can beat every single thing on base white stake. That's all you really ever need to like learn the game. And at the time when I did make these things, the multiplayer mod that pretty much is my format in a much more like streamlined thing wasn't really developed to the point where it is today. Obviously, it did exist, and there was a lot of developments per se over time, but no, back in like September, it was very, very rudimentary. And obviously, that was a fear in my head of, well, I know that exists, but I know, like myself, for example, I constantly use Xbox for like everything I do. I can't run bots. So, what if I make a tournament on it that is kind of in that style, but without needing the need for mods? And really, yeah, hey, it worked. Next, obviously, think of like your long-term goals. So here, understand that it is very, very, very rare for perfection on your first ever run through. Like, both attempts that I've done here, there has been something that I wish I could do better. And obviously, the experience does serve as practice for the future. That's the reason my second one was another rerun of the Balatro one, is I wanted to fix my mistakes, or as many as I could at the time. And yeah, no, there's some stories here. Like, first one, I wish I would have dealt with co-casters a little bit better. Second tournament, I wish I kind of handled the emergency kind of like contingency plans a little bit better, like in case folks need to dip for whatever reason, because trust me, there was a lot of them. And then, you know, first one, co-caster situation, is everything was perfect, but it taught me the simple thing of communicate everything, and I do mean everything. Even in the most like complex, like make sure things are constantly said to every possible party that is needed. Yeah. Third, obviously, the Balatro example here, how to make something competitive but still fun, because it's a roguelike single-player card game. And really, you can work with that. Single-player game, is there something that can be done to make it multiplayer, per se? Obviously, in the sense of roguelike, roguelikes have a specific win condition. Obviously, beating a run, beating a boss, etc., finish a story, whatever. So, how about you just basically do who can get there faster? Simple foot race, per se. But you do have to keep into account it's a roguelike. It's also like a gamble adjacent roguelike, so there is a ton of variability. So make sure, like, figuring out set rules and set seeds and any kind of like potential fluctuations that can exist on like run-to-run basis. You need to figure out a way to make things consistent. So overall, it's all about allowing that flexibility and allowing that freedom for the player's point of view, where they can flex their skill enough and demonstrate like their knowledge and their practice, but it also still keeps your kind of hand on things as a tournament organizer. It still allows that sense of control. Step 4, and arguably my most important step, is, for the love of everything, play test your format before you ship it. Your idea may be strong, but there may be some kind of flaw that only fine by having somebody that you might not have as much familiarity with running your format. Or in my example with Balatro, it's a game where I do understand the probabilistic nature of the game, because, well, I dabble a lot in numbers in my IRL. So I can understand what type of probability-based factors can exist, and that allows me to work and adjust my format around it. But really, do not be afraid to ask random folks for help, and they may become future friends. This isn't really one that was for Balatro, but it's for one of my upcoming ones for, I hope, this summer. I've done 2 playtests so far. I'll even like shout out the one clip on my channel group chat there. The person who I actually did that with was one of the playtesters for my upcoming thing. It's the smallest connections you may have. Run with it, pretty much. You're only in the testing phase, so like there really is no risk. And if your friends are willing to support that, then they're good friends, let me tell you. And yeah, getting that feedback from that person, per se. Like, I'll use the example of my upcoming thing. I've narrowed it down to 2 playtests that I know exactly the format I want to run, down to pretty much the exact rule I want to run. And I even have a rough ETA of like general timing. It ends up being roughly in the range of 1 hour to 2 hours for a given round. So getting this kind of info as you go can really help kind of the future steps, per se. And really take your time. As I know I have said many, many times before in many, 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 many different places, like, I am a vast believer that the folks who constantly say you need to be pushing things out, you need to be doing 4 shorts a day, posted on every single platform you have, posted on every single thing you ever own, even your own grandmother's Facebook account, just to convert traction. You need to do posts and good morning, good night, and good evening all in every single day. You need to be doing 4 hours of hopping in other people's streams and doing connections. And no, that type of mindset is the number one thing to burn out, per se. Like, trust me when I say this is a rant that I really wanted to go on my own time, which I may even do it after this, but pushing things constantly is the number one ticket to burnout, especially as indie, when discoverability is going to be shot. I'll openly say I have no discoverability. The only things that work for me are these events. So knowing that my normal stuff does not work, take the time that you need to walk through everything. Like, obviously, back to my number one point, don't be afraid to take the gamble stuff, but you can't gamble unless you actually, like, do feel confident about it. And I do mean this in the best way. Even the smallest sense of confidence is what you need. Don't wait for 100% perfection. Go back to my prior point on that. Once you feel at a point in your head where it's like, this might be something. The person I playtested with said they actually had fun. And if this person is also a creator, like, that says something. This is a person who knows the content brain mindset, and it's like, there's something here. Once you get that even slightest spark of a lead, then you push that. And obviously that's once you're balanced. Next, obviously, summarize your date and design, because now at this point in time, you have an idea, you have rough mechanics, you know your Balatro tournament is 1v1 duels, you know you're doing set seed, set stake, you know the general win condition is whoever gets first place finishes the run first, you know secondary win conditions of, like, if both people fail, because you only give them one attempt for time constraints, then you go into a scoring set. Like, you know all the factors that you can sell, per se. And really, once you do have the idea of what you want to do and why you want to do it, create a summary, land on a date. I do say why here, because, like, everybody has the reason for something. Cold calling stuff and basically saying, oh yeah, I'm hosting this, and it's like, what's your intention? Everybody knows there's hidden intentions everywhere. Like myself, I hosted both Balatro tournaments truly for a love of the game. I am somebody who is very much roguelikes and indie games. Knowing the story of how Balatro is made, being pretty much that one-man indie dev who suddenly broke through and, like, changed the world, per se. Mr. Local Thunk, even almost got Game of the Year at Game Awards, for crying out loud. It's that whole sense of the underdog story, and myself being, well, indie, that's literally my everyday life. Pushing the things that I know are risks and stuff, and taking the process, taking the time to learn. And this tournament, the first tournament I did of that, was pretty much an homage to my time with the game. Every single seed on my first run was in relation to some kind of factor that I personally had in my own time running the tournament. So that could be things very simply like the first seed I ever got E-score on, the first seed that I ever got a blueprint on, making these memories per se, which, spoiler, is memories is a very big topic of my next long form. But really, yeah, biggest thing though in the summarized date design, do not accidentally double book your dates. And this ties back to asking friends and having friends for help. Get information on events before you actually push it. Because, yeah, no, Balatro Tournament 1, I happened to host it. I set my dates pretty much in stone, solid, like 6 months prior. And I set it early September. And for the folks at home are probably wondering, oh, what happened early September of 2025? There may be some things that you are missing. Yes, somehow, some way, I accidentally double booked my first ever major tournament, my first ever major event with Vexpo, the largest EU-based convention that exists in the sphere. Don't ask me how I did it. I don't know. So that was one mistake that I knew going into my second one. I wanted to fix that. The amount of folks when I did my scouting and stuff that said, no, I'm busy. And it's like, why? And it's like, the expo. And it's like, yeah, no, nothing I could do there. Was way too high. So luckily it was to a point where the only major event that I remember from the second one was like an Irium Valorant tournament. No, it was a Shadowverse tournament. But still, it was like an Irium tournament. That's not as major as something like the largest EU convention in the space. And I do say this, and I do stress it very simply, do not double book yourself. My upcoming summer project, I also happen to may or may not have my initial draft on Offkai. I don't know how I keep getting away with it. So that got changed, and I'm currently in the works on that, but you live, you learn. What can I say? Once you do have this, make sure you create a kind of summarized form of your idea, your mechanics, your goal, your prize. If you do, you do not need to do a prize if budget is not in your sphere. There are obviously the ways you can, like, get around budget. Look at sponsors, for example, but like it's not needed. It's really not. If the game is good, people like your idea, they'll ship it, even if it is no prize, just for basically the love of the game. Make sure also you have your date and your time. Having all this info is good because it ensures you don't just straight up cold call somebody. You have expectations of what you want to do and why. And having that, people can book around, figure out schedule, and it makes you look much more like in tune. If you go in saying, yeah, no, this is what I want to do, this is my goal, you interested? Don't be afraid to answer questions as well, keep the floor open, be flexible to adaptation, but it ensures you just avoid saying, oh yeah, I want you to do this thing. And it's like, why? And it's like, It allows the valid explanation. So next bit, once you have this scouting, as I have said, I am but one cat. I do not have a team with me. Scouting for me is arguably the roughest aspect of this entire factor for me. There is so much that having a team to help with this type of stuff would be very, very beneficial. I am very quickly just going to get a bit of water here because I am obviously, yeah, no, scouting is the hardest aspect of this entire thing because you do have folks in the dreams who you love to work with. But you also need to temper the expectation that understand that rejection and understand being left on red. Like myself, I love to like send an invite out to the names like Iron Mouse, for example. But it's like I'll send it. I don't expect anything back, acknowledging that like really it's not afraid to take the gamble. You never know when that one person does see it. And it's like, yeah, I'm actually free that Saturday. Sure, well, yeah, sure, why not? Let's see what you do. It's that one quote basically from the movie La La Land, for example. Someone in the crowd could be the one you need to know. And really, this can even be as extensive as special co-casters, casters, co-casters. The biggest things with those type of stuff, allowing people kind of into the more internal circle, is set the rules, set the expectations of what you want and what you're doing. Like I'll say, yeah, no, Balatro 1, there was plans originally that lasted pretty much to the day of the event, to have two co-casters join me on table who happen to be from Corpo side. I won't say specifically for that, but the history is there. I think the post is up or might be deleted. I don't know. That was a very, very quick time. But there was a lot of talks with having this happen. And obviously you need to make sure things are elaborated with that and say, yeah, this is the folks who I want to have as my players. This is the general rules of the event. This is the general expectations. You can swear, you cannot swear, keep it family friendly, yada yada yada. If you have sponsor, are the other co-casters expected to acknowledge the sponsor? Do you have charities that you're working with? Make sure you tell people explicitly, oh, I have a charity. This one. Oh, I don't have a charity. I'm not considering. Oh, I don't have a charity, but I'm open to one if you guys have one. Yada, yada, yada. Keeping that kind of open communication with the folks you work with. And, you know, one of the reasons why that kind of fell through last minute is there was a very simple just sense of a back-end miscommunication that existed somewhere in the chain, that it just happened that stuff didn't actually line up as folks originally thought, and wordings can get misconstrued, which obviously expected when your entire communication is over the internet, not through like phones and stuff. There's obviously tone indicators can change things, for example. But it's acknowledging it, making sure your boundaries, expectations are set, etc., 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 making sure people know what is going to be happening, and make sure people know why. If people don't end up showing, like if you have those last minute drops, for example, for whatever reason, acknowledge it, have spare backup contingency plans, make sure you try and leave things in like a good sense, like still keep that open communication, say hopefully things will line up in the future. I'll even use that once again, that co-caster example. I am still friends with pretty much the large amount of the back end folks who like more like managers side of stuff, who were originally in charge of kind of arranging that. And we are still on good terms. We are still on talking terms. And I am still working on kind of I'll call it a shill video, but it's more just walking through my ideas and my processes for my next upcoming things that I'm tempted to also pretty much give to them and say, hey, I'd love to work with you guys again. hopefully make something connect using any of the ideas I have, for example. And really, yeah, back to the point, someone in the crowd could be the one you need to know. If I never would have even considered sending that initial ask, I wouldn't have even gotten to that point. And really, I've learned a lot of things in that process that, sure, yeah, the co-caster bit didn't actually happen. I've learned so much about a lot of the back end process of making sure you understand, like, contracts, for example, that now I know going into the future, yeah, I can actually kind of speak to the table and say, this is what expectations, back to the sense of like growing and stuff as you go. And I'll also add the point here in regards to sponsors as well. You can gamble, you can pick sponsors that you really want to work with. Send them the invite, send them, say, hey, I'm working on this type of thing, I'd love to have you. Like, somehow on my first ever event I ever did, I landed an Ethereum sponsorship. The Ethereum folks are very cool and very wonderful to work with. And my biggest tip for understanding sponsorship stuff is, yeah, no, make sure you read it. Like, make sure you read the contract. Like, I am begging you, read the contract. Because a lot of the companies, they have their own ways that they need you to follow through, run through, follow processes. You can say no. You do not have to be dragged into something that you don't want to really do. You have your own rights on your side of the creator and say, yeah, no, that isn't something that doesn't make sense for me. This is things that I can do realistically with what I have. And hopefully they accept it, acknowledge it, and understand the situation, for example. Yeah, no, next bit, practice and tune. Once you do have your rough cast list, obviously this is a slow process. Keep practicing, keep play testing, keep running things. You can run it with your potential players just to get like direct feedback before it even goes live. You could also start working on advertising, marketing, posters, announcement trailers. Obviously, you don't need to go into the large scale like advertising campaigns if, once again, budget doesn't actually exist. But sometimes a lot of these other connections have their own specific rules on announcing things. Like, obviously, if originally in my document having co-casters, I wanted to make the original separate document to acknowledge, oh yeah, I'm doing co-casting with these wonderful folks. And they had their own rules of when it needed to go up, what kind of format, what kind of logos. Sponsors, they have their own format, they have their own rules, they have their own logos, and acknowledging kind of everything all together and combining it all together. But always, always, always schedule. Schedule, schedule, schedule. Set yourself up for success in the best way possible. Do not just, as the kids say, raw dog it and try and make a format out of nothing. You genuinely just having the schedule, understanding, yeah, no, I'm going to post this day. Is this okay with you? Is this what you want on the document? Is this what you want on the Twitter post? It allows folks to basically understand, yeah, no, this is what's going to happen. And once again, communication. Fast forward, event date prep. Make sure you do, yeah, come up with a plan. Don't be afraid to ask your participants for help. Make sure everyone, and I do mean everyone, is on the same page, as I've said before. Very, 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 very big aspect. Next, yeah, sponsors, as I've said. It's also a bit of scouting. Like, learn and understand the contracts, have the conversations. Your side matters. And obviously, last bit, showtime, day of the event. Simply enjoy the ride. People do believe in the idea to the point where you got where you are. Make sure you just ride that kind of hype, ride that kind of interaction per se. Because I know in my case, that's the only interaction I ever actually get. And doing those events are the things that truly have, as a result, brought me the most joy in doing any of this. So having that happen, having it, make sure you say thank you. Make sure you celebrate all the people, all this like work, all the folks who gave you like a time to try this out. And you learn something new in the end. Folks meet cool things, do cool things. Celebrate it. Celebrate it, celebrate it, celebrate it. And then be prepared to restart the process again, pretty much. But now you've learned things. You've learned how to adapt. You've learned how to adjust. And as a result, you come out stronger. You come out much more knowledgeable. You can make the higher kind of risks, per se. Like, the thing I'm planning for summer is so difficult to properly gauge, per se. To the point where, yeah, no, I am playtesting against every single video game ever made. But it's something that is just so unique in its nature that you can do a lot of cool things with it, for example. And then it's all about just taking that lead, taking that risk, taking that gamble, and learning as you go, understanding the story. And yeah, as said, things definitely may not be perfect the first time. There's always that room to grow. There's always that room to learn. And there's always that room to do even better the next time. So yeah, no, that's kind of the end of my rant ramble. I will open the floor, take a sip of water here. I will open the floor for any kind of questions at all. Does not look like any because, like my normal content, I don't get visibility on anything I do, and my discoverability does not exist because this is not one of my collab events. So yeah, I guess I will just leave it be, as please feel free to keep in touch with me. I am handle at FieldArtMe everywhere, and I do mean basically everywhere except Tumblr. And please, like, feel free. I might not be, my schedule be in a spot where I could help playtest your stuff, but like, I'd love to hear about what kind of idea you want. And like, if you have an idea that you want something to just bounce off of, kind of understands the risk, understands the nature, understands kind of the volatility, like, I'm available. I am available. I really am. I want to see people explore this type of thing because not many people really do. My personal opinion is it's obviously the sense of a lot of people are scared that, you know, these type of things take way too long to actually do. But in a way, I am, as I have said, one that believes that's kind of the point. These type of things do take time, and acknowledging it, taking the time out to just practice, taking the time out to learn about yourself, learn about what type of things actually work for you, and what type of things work for your kind of workflow per se. You can understand specifically what kind of events kind of fit you, your nature, your vibe, your community, etc., etc., etc. And from there, it's easy. It really is. It really, really is. Just make sure you don't push yourself too far. Make sure you do take the rests. Do not do multiple 5 a.m. nights just to do scouting. Like, take that time. Take it off. Take 6 months to do your first project. I did. And that first Balatro tournament was the second highest thing I have ever done. Obviously the second Balatro tournament being the first. It shows that, like, I've grown in my process, I've grown in my workflow, and what I am doing there is correct. So yeah, no, as said, please keep in touch. I want to see people win, basically. There's a lot of folks in the sphere who just don't get a chance to ever really do things. Oh no, I'm going back into that rant again about my own opinions of the sphere. But like, support your indie folks, support the folks who don't get that chance, support the folks who don't have that visibility, because even just the simplest, yeah, you can do it, hope you're having a very nice day, like even the smallest word of encouragement can change somebody's mentality to a point where, yeah, no, they do continue with the project, they don't quit, and like they see it through to the end. And really, that one small "you can do it," yeah, no, that can change somebody's mentality for the positive such a good way. So yeah, I guess without further ado, another short bit today, but I mean, I did hang out with you all earlier today. Let me see if I can find you somebody. No. Maybe. As I have always done, gambling is pretty much the easiest way to try your hardest. Follow that lead, follow that story. So we are going to go into one that I've really wanted to time this for, and without further ado, yeah, no, see you all tomorrow evening. I'm going to see if the one fighting game works and is kind to me. If it's not, then might even be like, I don't know, script kind of like work with me night. I don't know how to even really set that up. But we can figure some stuff out. We can figure some stuff out. So yeah, no, please keep in touch. You all have my info. Please have a very wonderful day. See you tomorrow. Bye. Bye. Bye.